Welcome back to Beyond the Classroom. I'm your host, Lisa Harding, and today's guest is someone who will inspire you to take the leap, no matter how long you've been teaching. Kathleen Long taught for 22 years before finally making her move out of the classroom, and she's now building something completely new, a coaching practice that supports people through emotional intelligence and ADHD life coaching. But this isn't a business episode. It's a transformation episode. Kathleen shares how she overcame fears, found clarity, and used the support of a coaching program, you'll hear which one inside the episode, to finally give herself permission to pursue the next chapter of her life. If you've ever wondered, is it too late for me to change? This conversation is for you. Let's dive in. I'm Lisa Harding, ex-EdTech CEO turned certified teacher career coach. It wasn't all that long ago that I was recruiting, interviewing, and hiring teachers for roles in corporate America. Teachers that ended up being some of my all-time best employees. Fast forward through my own career transition, where I left my role as CEO to become a stay-at-home mom, I now work with and empower teachers to transform their lives by turning their once distant career dreams into realities. In this podcast, I give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you do the same. If you're a burnt-out teacher or simply need a change and you're looking to create a life you love, you're in the right place, friend. Let's get started. All right, everyone. Well, I am so excited to welcome a very special guest today, a former member of the Teacher Career Transition Academy. I guess we could use the word graduate, but welcome, Kathleen.
Hi, well, thank you. Nice to see you.
It is so great to have you here today, and excited to hear about your career transition and what you're doing now. But let's start and just tell us a little bit about your background in education and what led you to exploring additional opportunities.
So my background in education, I graduated, I'm from New York, so I graduated from Oswego, right on Lake Ontario, back in 2003, and then after I came home, I went to grad school right away. I got a literacy master's degree, and I taught on Long Island. Well, I substitute taught, per diem sub, permanent sub, teacher assistant, leave replacement, like did all the things, and wound up in third grade. But then on the same day, my roommate and I wound up, like due to budget cuts, losing our job, and there was no room for us. So eventually, a little after that, my sister moved down to North Carolina. So I kind of picked up and followed my big sister. And she's like, Charlotte's a big city, you'll find something, yada, yada. So did the same thing, like found like a part-time job and then like a reading kind of consultant thing. And then I was able to get a fourth grade position starting in November. And I kind of wondered why someone would leave a job in November, why there would be an opening. But I was like, you know what? Now my business jumped in, taught fourth and fifth grade at that school. And then I transferred to the school that I just left, and I was there for 11 years. And I taught fifth grade, second grade, and first grade. So when it's all said and done, I've taught 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, a little bit of seventh grade when I taught in New York. So it's kind of been all over the place. And then, yeah. Good.
And with even like the beginning part of your career transition journey, or just your career journey, kind of highlights how there's bumps along the road no matter what you do in your career, and yep. you get through them, you move on.
I just kept on plugging. I said, okay, well, got to keep going, and just kept trying. It just, something always felt like a little bit like, oh, shouldn't be this hard, like what now kind of thing. But
so what was there a moment, did something happen, or like when did the realization come to you that you wanted to leave education?
Most people, you think like, oh, COVID. I mean, that was tough. But for me, it really was around, I would say, I had the thought in my head, like, I deserve better than this, a little bit around this time last year. But honestly, it was 2 school years ago. The class was humongous. It was 27 children. Varying needs. At the time, the teacher assistant had taken another job, so there was no support, and there were children with different disabilities, language barriers. It was a high poverty school. There just was too much going on, and I just felt like very overwhelmed and just felt like I could never breathe, and it just wasn't good for my own mental health. And then around that time, I was also late diagnosed with ADHD. and things just all kind of like, I was like, whoa, something's got to give here. Like this doesn't feel good anymore. And it made me sad, but I was like, this doesn't feel authentic. This doesn't feel right. So that's kind of where I basically, and I'll be full disclosure, I've had a great therapist for the past couple of years, and she said to me, Katie, like, either you need to go on a family medical leave for your stress and your anxiety, she said, or we need to take small steps to help you like find a new career or find something different. And I didn't want to take the leave because I was like, oh my God, how can I do that? And then through lots of small steps and a great set of family, friends, and colleagues, yeah, here we are. And you guys, the Academy.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about the Academy. And for our audience members, Kathleen was a member of the Teacher Career Transition Academy, and I hate to say was, because I feel like once you're in the family, you're always in the family. But
Yes.
At what part of your transition did you find the Academy, and how did you know that was the right step for you?
So I think kind of maybe just, in the algorithm when you start typing like what to do after teaching, or, whatever it was I was typing, it popped up and I was looking at it and I was like, wow, there is an academy for teachers that are trying to leave. Like, this is a thing. And I just really looked into it, and I even I took notes, and I was like kind of like weighing the pros and cons and looking at it. And I was like, no, this is perfect, because it felt like the school kind of to get me out of school. Like, I needed the structure, from being a teacher and just being that kind of person. And I was like, this sounds great. And I kind of talked it over, with myself, my mom and dad, my therapist, a couple friends, and I was like, I'm going to go for it. And I just was so happy that I did.
That's awesome. Was there anything in particular that drew you to the Academy? Was it the structure, the community, the coaching calls?
Really, I mean, all of that wound up being amazing. Like, I think probably the best part for me, because I am a reflective person, like, I'm even looking at I have the papers now, all like the graphic organizers, like looking back, like just the way that you guys structure it with like saying like the skills that you have, like you just constantly, even just in the way you promote it, when you say like how you were hiring former teachers for your old job, and I was like, oh, okay. And I think just the support system and the guidance and reminding us that like teachers did do everything and are capable, of anything. And just the fact, like sheer idea of like writing it down, talking about it, talking to other teachers in their journey, like the constant support, and then the modules and the videos. And it just really was so much that I was like, this is exactly what I need.
Well, that's awesome. And we're glad that you're on the other side of it. So let's jump into what that career meant for you. Now, you are a coach now, and we'll get into that. So also an entrepreneur, I guess those kind of go hand in hand. When you started the Academy, did you know that you were going to leave in an entrepreneurial route, or did that kind of spring up in the midst of, your career exploration with the Academy?
That I would say in the midst of it, I always part of me wanted to start my own tutoring business and do that, and like have a place, like honestly, because I have restaurant experience and teaching. It was like, oh, mom and dad can have a cup of coffee and a drink while the kids get tutored for an hour. I just had that in my head, but that never came to fruition. And honestly, really the whole coaching thing and the business ownership didn't happen until, so I started the Academy in September. That probably didn't start until about March. I really the best part about the Academy was like taking all the skills and writing down what I could do, and like shifting my resume and watching the career exploration library, like seeing the journey of all those other teachers, like the good, the bad, the in between. Some people got a job right away, some people had to go back to teaching, all of that. But the one, I believe I think she became maybe a therapist or like some sort of mental health. I saw that and I was like, she kind of talked about like how she was helping people, but she was able to have her own schedule and she was taking better care of herself, and all that. I was like, I like this. And then really it was a conversation with in a group call with Marcia, when she said, oh, everybody put in the chat what you're looking to do. And I wrote ADHD coach. And she said, oh, Kathleen, connect with me on LinkedIn. I have someone that I can, have you do an informational interview with. And I was like, oh my God, she's talking to me. I was like, okay. And she did that. And I wound up talking to a former teacher that she knew that now is an ADHD coach. And that kind of started like the her story. And then I was like, oh my God, I can do this. And it just kind of took off from there.
That's amazing. Well, I'm so glad that Marcia, who's one of our amazing coaches, kind of helped springboard that. I know I love those small group coaching calls. And, we talk about networking and how important it is in the academy all the time. But this is just such a great example. I mean, what a highlighted example of how one networking call potentially like changed the trajectory of your life. So, you are in the sphere of ADHD and emotional intelligence coaching. What does that mean? Who do you help? How did you start that journey? Kind of give us a little bit of insight into how you get into that.
So a lot of it has to do with, the late diagnosis of ADHD for myself. I was always, chatty Cathy, busy little tomboy, but that just wasn't really a thing, and I did my work and I worked hard and just had my, but as a teacher, I just noticed a lot of kids that I felt like, their parents didn't help them or unable to help them. I sometimes felt like, wow, I don't know if I'm doing right by this child, or just things when I'm noticing, whether diagnosis or not, or just certain things, I was like, you know what? I feel this for myself, for the kids, for the teachers, for the parents. I'm like, what can I do to help everybody? Because it's just something I've always loved to do. I used to kind of, maybe she didn't think it was funny, but I joke with my principal, like I spend more time advocating for others than I do actually teaching, like fighting for like what's right for them. And with the coaching course that I took, the ADHD coaching course, it went through helping kids, teens, and professionals. So I found and I was doing that while I was still teaching. So I found it so beneficial for my students, a couple of them in particularly, even because the school was a pre-K 8. So like former students, I was like, oh, so, and as close as everybody would talk to the teachers. And then even for like myself, I was like, these are how, where was this when I needed all of these, things? And I just was like, I don't know, I just felt like I was so excited just to learn more. And then with the Teacher Academy, it was like, finding, volunteer ways to volunteer and things to like just look into like the connections and LinkedIn, and it just kept building like with every day. So with the business, I also, the emotional intelligence course that came through actually my therapist who I have, she also has a life coaching course. And she basically said she didn't say anything for a while. And I really didn't know about it because it's something separate than the therapy. And she shared with me and said, well, I have this course, and she said basically like you're living proof that all of it works. She's like, you're not going to be, it's not therapy and coaching are different. She was like, it's a lot of the strategies that I use with you to get you to kind of where you are today. And I was like, okay. So combine like what I've learned about ADHD, what I learned in therapy, what I'm going to learn from that, plus another coaching course I took, like an accelerate, like 30-day one. I was like, I'm going to do this. And I just want to help people, kids, adolescents, and, adults, even seniors. I wound up like really enjoying time, like helping, older folks who don't really ask for help or had help, of just everybody.
Well, and you've been a coach your whole career. That's what teaching is. I mean, it's coaching. You're just, maybe now you're doing it for adults, or you're focusing on something different than ABCs and 1, 2, 3s.
Exactly. And then even like the thought of it was like, wow, I wish like, and this is still fairly new, so I'm still, I could maybe take a turn somewhere, but like even just for like, I always liked being like a mentor, like a mentor-mentee program. And I'm like, teachers need help. Like if they're going to continue to stay in there, like there's, I know there's instructional coaching, but like take them out, like outside of the school and talk to them about like what's going on in their life, because that emotional intelligence course, coaching course, talks a lot about like stress management and anxiety and emotional regulation. And, teaching takes a lot out of you, and like the cost of caring really, if you're not okay, then you can't really be okay for the kids. And especially if you're in a high needs school where the kids come from like, those kinds of homes where they're not taught that either. So.
And I mean, especially with what I do, helping teachers leave the field, I always think, what if 5 years before they found the academy, they had gotten help, and not for some people, I think you can work through your burnout, work through the issues that are going on in the school. But for some people, no matter how much self-help you do, like probably a change is necessary. And schools don't provide that to their employees. Like a teacher's never going to get that sort of emotional support from teacher PD.
No. And that's like, honestly, and something else that really was like a big part of, I started to do more like mindfulness and meditation with the students, and like I got into it, and then I was like, let me try it with them, and they just loved it because it was like just a time that they could just be, and it was really good for all of us. And they look forward to it. So like, and I was trying to like incorporate that more and teach like, some staff members, and all of it was just like give people a chance to like breathe and regulate and kind of come back so you can be your best self.
Hey teachers, quick break in the podcast because I have something truly special for you. The Teacher Career Transition Summit is a free virtual event packed with expert advice, real success stories, and step-by-step guidance to help you explore new careers and land a job you love. It's happening on Saturday, June 14th. So if you're hearing this before then, go grab your free ticket. And if it's already passed, no worries. You can access the full replays or join a waitlist for the next one. Head on over to our website, teachercareertransitionacademy.com/summit to check out what's available now. And back to the podcast. So how long, I know you have your business, and it's fairly new, coached by Kath. Yeah. What were like the very first steps to getting started? Like, how did you get your very first client?
So it was actually, so with that, this is a whole journey, but I got my first client while I was still teaching. I learned through this, it's called the Insight Coaching Community. I took like a 30-day course, and in one of them, it was like just kind of teaching us how to like put yourself out there and let people know what you're doing. And I did like a looking for, the first 5 people who are feeling stressed out, however I worded it. And someone that I know who actually I used to teach with reached out and was like, oh my God, some people call me Kathleen, Katie. She's like, oh my God, Katie Long, like, what are you doing? She was like, you're leaving teaching and this is what you're doing. She was like, your post like resonated with me. She was like, it was a free call. And I said, all right, well, let's jump on. Let me like try this out. And, we did. And then I offered her like what my first like coaching packages were. And, her and her husband talked about it and she paid me and I got the money and I was like, oh my God, like she trusts me. Like this is going to work. Like, this is great. And she actually just signed on again. So it's been like since probably April and it's just it's been so great. I mean, it really is. So yeah, that's kind of how that happened. And then learning took a lot. Like with the LLC, that went through on the last day of students. So it was like no time wasted. A lot of it I did through Zen Business. I just found them to be very helpful, and they'd like take you through the steps of what you need, and then to get the approval. Because I come from a family of educators. Father was a superintendent. My brother was. My sister-in-law were teachers. My mom was even a school nurse. So nobody really knows like the business, and so it was asking a lot of ChatGPT, a lot of Zen Business, and just asking like other people who have started businesses kind of for some advice, and some of my CPA friends for the tax end.
Yeah, a lot kind of goes into it, and I mean, you're kind of like me. I think some folks know all my family's basically in education too. I always say it runs in the family. That identity then like is probably stronger than other people. And that's something that a lot of people struggle with, is leaving the identity, like your career kind of is your identity. Was that hard for you? And like, how did that struggle look for you? And are you still kind of going through that now?
Yeah. You don't really, like, you think about it, then you don't think about it, then it kind of like creeps up on you. In the beginning, maybe what took me so long to maybe transition out of the classroom was like, who am I, especially being at a school for so long. I mean, I was there for 11 years. Like, who am I without this job and these people and like this building? You're at school more than you are, I spent more time with those children and the colleagues than I did with my own family and friends. So that part was like, okay, you're going to be working from home and like not seeing anyone. Like, I'm a very like, active, person, talkative person. So I was like, how's that going to work? And then I'm like, can I do it? Because, when you've never, I mean, I'm going to be 44. Like, that's all I've done. Like, it was like maybe like the limiting beliefs or like the doubt kind of creeping in, being, anxiety, and then, ping ponging thoughts. And then I kind of said like, okay, like I'm not going to have like a booked calendar right away. Like, what am I going to do? And I'm not like actively helping people every day, but honestly become so busy, and I just was learning so much that it was okay. But yeah, it took a while. And I think too, honestly, there were, and I'm not going to name names, point fingers, but there are people that like it makes them uncomfortable when you become something different. They're not really as supportive as maybe you thought they would be, or they're like, oh, somebody said to me like, oh, just take that medical leave that you should have taken, take it now, and then work on your business. I'm like, that's okay, no, I'm not going to do that. Like just, and then like, oh, you don't have ADHD. Like, I'm like, okay, what is going on right now? Yes, I have ADHD. Yes, I'm leaving teaching. Yes, I'm starting a business. Yes, I'm a little bit crazy, but it would be crazier for me to stay somewhere where I wasn't happy. So
Yeah.
So it took a little while. Like, you have to like do a lot of self-talk and reflection, and use the Mel Robbins, like the let them, like just let them think that, and then let me do what I need to do.
I love that book. I've read it now more than once. And I actually just did a podcast episode on applying like let them to teachers in transition. So I love that reference.
Do another one. I want to do that one. Yeah. And and like with the motivation piece too, like her, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like those mornings, like getting up, like knowing I had like so much work to do for the business, for school, because I didn't just give up on my teaching job. It was still important to me. So I would like that alarm. I set my alarm to say like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then launch out of bed, do my work, go to school, come home, do more work, and just be like, okay, I'm building like the foundation for this new life. Like it's like you have to. So that's what kind of kept me motivated. Like, what's the alternative? So I want to continue.
Yeah, the alternative was an unhealthy lifestyle, like really kind of struggling and not being happy, and everyone deserves to be happy. Which this leads what you were just saying, like keep going. You're just doing one more thing. One of the questions I wanted to bring up was, we talk a lot about momentum in a career change and how you have to just keep going and focus on small wins and just keep moving that needle forward. What helped you get that motivation to just keep going, maybe during like the hardest parts of it?
Well, not finally like having the ADHD diagnosis, and I'm not saying medicine's for everybody, but medicine, like I was able to finally like focus for the first time, like long-term focus, and then like not be so anxious. The momentum, like my parents, have a great family, and just like knowing like that I'm in charge of creating this life. So like put your feet on the ground and go. I would, again, I'm an advocate for self-care. My friend and I joke, we call ourselves like self-care bears. Like really you have to take care of yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself, then you can't work hard, you can't be happy, you can't be authentic. So journaling, therapy, exercise, meditation's a huge part. Like I wake up every morning, I use the Insight Timer, I listen to, just whatever I needed to do to get inspiration, sometimes like just even like fresh air and sunshine and just pushing through, or like, you have those, I think it was, you guys also have that part where like you write down, like, is it your advocates or like people that will support you, or like I listen to so many things, but like I had to think about that, like who can I look at this list, who's going to tell me like keep going, or who's going to give me a good idea, or who's going to say like, Katie, take a break, like just go do something else. So really just leaning on whoever whatever to keep you going.
I love that. In a previous episode I did, one of the teachers that made a similar transition said, just listen to the cues, like look for the cues and follow those. And I kind of love that, because now I see that like weaving into all the stories, kind of like you see one thing and you lean into that, like you went to a coaching call, Marcia introduced you to someone, you leaned into that conversation, and just kind of being open to letting the universe kind of tell you what's next, and being in tune enough to pick up on those signals, and believing in yourself enough to like go after it, which you did, and it's amazing. And I'm so proud of you. I love this. It's radiating.
Well, and I will say too, like when you're looking to change and your conversations change, you're not talking about the same thing over and over again, and people are like, oh, and actually like my mom's childhood best friend was like, my niece is a coach. She's like, let me get you two connected, like look her up. And So within like a month or so, like I had my call with just a one-on-one call with Marcia. And then I also had a call with this, like, we never met each other. We're around the same age. Our mom and aunt, have been friends for, it's been friends for like 75 years. And we talked, and she told me her whole journey about leaving her job. And then like, she was so motivating and like, so just, and she was like crunching numbers with me, talking to me. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, all right. Like, she got me really motivated too. But if all I was doing was talking about teaching, and that's all my mom would have been telling her friends, so like it opens up. And I think it was in one of Reba's webinars, like, you got to network to get work. Yeah. That stuck with me. And I was like, okay, so I have my mom out there networking, but it worked out because, seeing these other people that left their careers and started something new was really another, level of inspiration.
Well, that's awesome. So speaking of inspiration, I know we might have some listeners out there that they've been around the podcast for a while. Maybe they've come to some of our coaching calls, but they're on the fence about joining the academy and wondering if it's a good move for them. What inspiration or what would you say to those teachers who are considering that journey with us today?
So I would look at it like, look at yourself, like, where do you want to be in a year? In the same place? Where do you even want to be in a month? Still like complaining that you're unhappy or not knowing like where to start? And I would say, I know sometimes with being a teacher, like maybe the financial commitment, but honestly, like if they're not going to join right away, listen to more podcasts. You do some of the free ones, the webinars and everything. But I would say go for it, because what I think is like, I use the expression like no excuses, just results. Like, you guys lay this platform out and like you teach everything, for you to like redo the resume and get the inspiration and the networking and negotiation. That those modules scared me, but I'm so glad that I watched them, because I don't know, I think it's important, and it's like like joining it helps you get rid of those limiting beliefs that, oh, I'm just going to be a teacher for the rest of my life. Like, you don't have to be a teacher for the rest of your life. You could be whatever you want to be, just like we tell the students. So I think just go for it. And what's the worst that can happen? If it doesn't work out, you can go back to teaching. It's not like you're, exiled from it. I don't know. I think it would be a great idea just to go for it and try something new. Might make you the happiest that you've ever been, because that's what's happening over here.
Well, we're so glad to have you as a graduate. We love seeing you on the other side of things. And hopefully a year from now, we can have another interview and just see how you've been flourishing and where your business is a year from now. We'll have you back on the show, Kathleen.
Oh, I would love that.
Any final words of advice for fellow educators, or anything you'd like to share about what you're doing or how you can help teachers that are currently in the classroom?
I would say, like, the advice, like I said before, like, you don't have to just limit yourself, just to teaching until, the end. I know the pension's great and all that stuff, but, you have a life, there's a life outside of that school, and why not explore? And for people looking, a lot of people don't know what coaching is, but like, if you're looking for someone, for help and partnership to goal set and kind of keep you on track, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a nagging, mom or aunt or anything like that. But, if you can look on Instagram, look at my reviews, a lot of clients that are very happy. I don't know. I mean, I would say just keep pushing, because it worked for me. Like, I'm not perfect. I don't know everything, but I would say just don't give up. And my big thing with my kind of similar to what you're doing, like my program's like from crash out to clarity, like, because that's what happened to me. And I kind of like and my logo is the lotus, like, to be reborn again, and come from the mud and start again. Like, we all can do it. So between the academy and me, come on, teachers, we can do it.
All right, Kathleen, I love that. Such an inspiration. And I wish the listeners could see the joy on your face. It truly is just like resonating. What a great chat. Thank you for sharing your journey, not just, within the academy and how we've been able to help you, but getting started in your business, having the confidence, believing in yourself, even when others may have been saying other things, and just keep on going with that momentum to get you where you are today. So thank you for joining us, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Another great episode with another great guest. Kathleen, thank you so much for sharing your story so openly with us. Your journey is such a powerful reminder that it's never too late to make a change, and that with the right support, anything is possible. If Kathleen's story resonated with you, be sure to check the show notes for her contact info and links to connect. She's doing such thoughtful work now as a certified coach, and I know she'd love to hear from you. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you left a review, shared it with a teacher friend, or let us know your thoughts in the comments. Every share helps us reach more educators ready for something new. And remember, friends, the journey is just the beginning. Embrace the adventure.